Good afternoon. In today's training, we're going to be looking at Infinite Campus's gradebook setup. And so to start the year out, we're going to need to make sure that we have certain things set up in Infinite Campus. So let's go ahead and sign in. And when we sign in, if we don't see that we are in the campus instruction module, what we need to do is go back and watch the first video about account settings so that this will come up each time. So the first thing that we need to do is go over to the taskbar over here and look for gradebook. So let's take a quick look at what's here. And I'm going to minimize or hide this, and you can do this also by hitting these three little lines. So right now I'm just going to look at this. At the top we'll see the term. Term 1 is where we need to be. So notice that it says 720. The reason it does is because I made this for a training purpose. Again, all the information you see here does not exist, but it can be used to help us understand how we can use Infinite Campus better. The section, I have two sections of geometry in which I have imported students and the task. I will show you that if you were in the second term, notice the classes or sections are the same, but then we have semester grade. And so that's where we'll end up posting those things later. All right, so let's go back to our first 9 weeks, first semester, and everything's set here. If we click Add Now, we haven't really done anything. We haven't set up anything. So let's go ahead and hit Cancel. We're not going to do any of this yet here, but what we're going to do is we're going to go to Settings. So the Settings is right here. Now let's go ahead and do some basic setups to make everything work. So a couple of things that I do want you to know is that not every tab will you use. And there are other things that will help us later on to see additional things. Okay, so grade scales, we really don't need to worry about that. That's already been set up. But grade calculations, we do need to look at this because we want to set up the correct grading scale for a grading task. And to do this, let's go to Field Calculation, Type, and let's put In Progress Grade. The grading scale is 5/12/2003, unless we're doing advanced placement or a college class. If you're going to use weighted scores or use scores percent value, you go ahead and select those pieces. Notice that it automatically fills in all the others. Notice that it did third and fourth 9 weeks also. And we hit Save. It may look different depending on what we're trying to see. And so that was the grade. Filter defaults, you can look at that if you want. I don't think you'll need to. Categories, let's go ahead and do that. Now, before we do categories, we could copy categories from previous years. So if I had Algebra 1 last year and I want to copy all my categories, I could actually do that from here. We'll come back in just a moment and do that. And also assignment copier, which is very helpful if I'm going to have some of the same assignments that I had last year. So categories, we'll go ahead and hit categories. And we're going to go ahead and hit Add. And just give the name of the category, and I'm just going to call it Test. You can sequence them however you want to see them. We can also exclude them from calculation, which means if it's an activity we want to give a grade but not to count it, we can actually put it here. We can also drop the lowest score. Then, where will this category be placed? Maybe I want to place it in all my classes that are in geometry. If I want to do that, I would just click the top box. But maybe I only want to do it for the first one. And the same thing goes with the grading task. Category, in this case test, is only going to occur in the 9 weeks. It will not occur in semester grade. Hit Save. And I've got one category. I'd add another. Maybe in this case, I'm going to do quiz. And the same thing goes here. It's only going to be in the first. It's going to be here. I'm going to hit Save. Maybe I'll add another. Maybe homework. Same thing in this class only. Now, the reason I'm doing this class only is that I may use the other class to go and set it up so that other people can see this later on. But I could, again, do it with everything. So again, make sure you select at least a section and a grading task. For some of us, we actually have end of course test or something happens. We could go into add, and I'm just going to put final exam or EOC test or something of that sort. I would just find the correct place to put it. I want to do it in semester grade. I can place it there, hit save, and now I have all these categories ready. I'm finished. I hit close. I'll close one more time. If you want to go back in and add another category, you would just hit categories, add again. And so now I have my categories. Assignment marks, I'm really not going to look into right now, but the assignment list, yeah, let's take a quick look at this. I can go in here and notice that nothing has been assigned. I can actually hit add an assignment here. Validate assignment, save and close. So if I want to add an assignment from here, I would just click assign. I'm just going to make homework 01, abbreviation HW01. I can add a note for my personal use if I want. It's kind of similar to what we had before. Notice that it automatically selected this, give it a start date. I'm going to change the due date, maybe to the 29th. Do I want it to align to my grade book? Sure. I want it to go into the 9 weeks. It is a homework. Notice these are my categories. I'm using points, and the number of points, 5 points. I could do a semester grade. Notice it'll have the EOC, but it's not going in there. Information for students, also parents, if they want to see. I could add a description, basic overview of geometric terms. I could also go down here, add an objective. The objectives are identify the 3 undefined terms of geometry. I could give it a reference. I could say textbook, page 12, or maybe website, and I'll just put Jackson. Just real quick. Of course, you have all the tools here you can still use. There's things at the bottom right now we're not worried about. We can save it, or we can hit score. It's saved, and so now it's ready to go. If I would have had this class, I can check and put it in it too. So I mean, it's fine. I can do it multiple things. Again, these have to be related in the same category or have the same course code. Let's hit cancel now. Let's hit save one more time. Just make sure. Close. Notice now I have a list. Now, there is another way to do this. I could hit add up here. And that's probably the way I would do it from here out, because I'm not going to have this open. I'm just going to hit add. And when I do it, I go through the same process again, which is pretty easy. Notice that the students' scores appear over here. I can go in and put 4. Notice it automatically puts some grades in. Let's say a 5. Let's say 6. Notice the grades calculated always. Notice the save button. We need to save. It's saved. Now, let's go back to settings. Maybe there was a category I missed. Category copier. Now, back in maybe 11, 12, I had geometry here. There were some activities. Well, I don't want to select all of them, but maybe activity. And I want this to go into geometry 2. Hit next. It's just now been added. So, or actually it's asking me, do I want to put it in the 9 weeks or semester? I'm sorry. So I'm going to put it in the 9 weeks. I'm going to hit copy. Now, when I go back to the things up here, I see that I have homework, a quiz, test, and now an activity. So you can copy things like that. Well, let's do an assignment copier. Let's go back again, and I can go back as far as I need. There's geometry. I don't want to copy everything, but maybe what is geometry? I want to copy it here. Notice it was a homework. Next. Where do I want to place it? I want to change the date. Instead of that, I want to go to August, maybe 15. I want to go 3. Let's make the same due date. Copy. And then there it is. And I can go ahead and put grades in for that. So it's 4, 4, 0. And notice that you have a little spike bar here. And these are called spark line graphs. This kid's plateaued. This kid's going down. This kid really dropped below. And you can see a red line here, which meant, there's some things. Now, it's pretty easy to notice that. And I tried to do this. You'll see little marks on the sides when you click. They're little arrows. And what that little arrow allows you to do is go back in here and say some little things like, excellent job. Or maybe he got a 0 here. And the reason he got it was cheating, but you know what? Maybe use a cheat. No, I have a note on this now. Again, I will go back and save. It keeps everything in line. And it's really useful in some cases to see these things. Now, some other things that I do want you to be aware of is that you do have some preferences under the settings. There's a help and there's a website. Now, website is yours. Share your website with your parents and stuff. Type in your URL. The help key, it'll go through and it'll give you a breakdown of Box Whisker, what it is, and all the spark line graphs and so forth, and some shortcuts too. But because this training video can last no longer than 15 minutes, we're going to go down here, display the spark line graph. Maybe I don't want to see it. Don't like it. Maybe I like to see the pass-fail colors. Maybe I really like that. And notice you can do the scores out here. It helps me visually see who needs to, or if a group. I wouldn't use canned. Save alert. I probably wouldn't do that. You can change the number of assignments per page. That's up to you. But these two here are really good. This one comes automatically checked. It just gives you a visual, quick, see how things are going. I do want to show you one more thing before, and I'll leave the spark line up. If I click this kid, of course, I can bring up their information instantly here. If I click that, here's where you'll see some of the Box Whisker plots and some other things too. So just be aware that there are other things in here based on these things. So hopefully this has been helpful. Again, if you need any help on it, please review this, or you could go to Campus Community, or you could ask other teachers or myself to help you. So again, real quickly, if you need to bring it back, show menu, you go gradebook, you would set it up. If I make a new assignment, I'd hit add. Instead of having to go back over here, maybe test 01, give it an abbreviation, TO1. I've selected it, choose the 9 weeks, do test. Maybe it's worth 100 points. I can give it some descriptions. I'm just going to hit save and then hit close. If I need to score the whole thing, I could go into the assignment list, test 1, score, and I can bring up every kid at one time, give them their points, 98. Whoops, I must hit something extra. 98. I don't have a clue what that's doing. Question. Sorry, that one I'll have to check. Let's get out of this. You hit score at the top, then hit save. Let's go ahead and hit close. There's something in that I need to go back and check. I don't know why I did that. Okay, so let's try it over here real quick. Try 98. Yeah, it worked here fine. So it does work. So again, 15 minutes is over now, so sorry.